The playoffs continue for 8 area CNC Login Truck Series competitors, at least for 85 laps. Tonight's event is round 4 of 5 in the 2022 season and the last elimination round before the season finale next week in Las Vegas. 4 truckers are out when the checkered flag falls here in Michigan, and it all starts now. Welcome back to Sim TV and the area iRacing series. The CNC Login Truck Series playoffs continue tonight from Michigan, the 2-mile speedway in Brooklyn, Michigan. Kyle Heyer alongside Finian DeCuna. Finian, welcome aboard. Round 4 of 5. We had Martinsville last week. That was a wild one, but now we eliminate 4 more tonight en route to our championship 4.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot of people take their aggression out last week. You gotta imagine that maybe you guys have taken it out of their system. We'll see if that's the case because, as you mentioned, the last round before we eliminate 4 more drivers is going to be here tonight before the championship round, where 4 more will go on for the title next week. But yeah, I think these guys, there's quite a bit on the line. The points battle is pretty close for the final spot. The top 3 of those 4 positions are pretty, I wouldn't say clear, but for the most part, they have okay days. They should be fine, but that last spot is very close.
Certainly is. Here's a look at some track information about Brooklyn, Michigan. Population roughly 1,200, not a big town around here. The racetrack constructed back in 1968. If you're familiar with the name Chip Ganassi, he used to race a lot, but his career ended after an accident here in 1984. Of course, he's a team owner now in the IndyCar series. So,
yeah, just a little team owner.
Yeah, just a little team owner. You might have heard of him before, and he's definitely got some loyal drivers over there for sure. As we head into tonight's race, here's a look at the weather information. Bottom right of your screen, 78 degrees in the air. Track temp, though, almost 120. We saw this last night in the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series race. Hot, but that didn't seem to affect grip a lot. The cars seemed pretty hooked up, and with the lower horsepower levels here in this series, I don't think it'll be a huge deal tonight.
No, I don't think so. I really think these guys should, for the most part, this should be fairly straightforward for the race. I think really it's going to be more about battling each other than battling the track surface.
All right, with that, let's take you back to last week in Martinsville Speedway, show you what happened in round 3 of the playoffs. Roll on to the backstretch into turn 3. The pace truck pulls off. The Elwood Designs 180 from Martinsville, round 3 of 5 in the playoffs. Coming to the green, this time through, Travis Beckner in the 28. Green flag flies, and we're racing at the paperclip. His concerns were unfounded, but you see him kind of drifting up a little bit off the inside curb here. The preferred line takes you against the curb on entry.
On the wall.
Ooh, a little bit more bouncing. Here in the 66 spins across the racetrack, and it's going to be a very awkward, slow crash, and triggers the yellow again the second time tonight. That crash took forever to happen.
It really did. Oh, and here come the leaders. Looks like everyone gets going before they can put a lap down.
Enthusiastic yellow flag waving by the flagman here.
Over the back, no clear way to go.
Oh, crash behind him. Brad Slaughter, points leader, is turned around.
That is not good, and a decent amount of damage to the nose of that truck as well. I think I heard something about him hitting the curb.
41 laps later, and with a lot more damage.
Oh, sideways off of turn 4, round he goes.
Right in front of the track.
Stop, nobody knows.
Oh, more hits.
I got hit by the 55. Ooh, got hit again by Irvin.
Washing out again here, lap 42.
This came after some side-to-side contact with the 58 off the corner. You see right there, just got him upsettled enough, was chasing the car. There was another completely different spin behind him.
Yeah, the 98 got turned. Hunter Collier got turned, none of his own doing here. I think the 51 couldn't really see a lot. Yeah, this is just not looking out the windshield, Finian. He just drove right into that. That was too far back.
Irvin was voicing his displeasure at Hartman.
Yeah, that was too far back. That shouldn't have happened for Hartman. So there's the 28, the Beckner, who's losing ground.
Down in front of them.
Oh boy, the 5 in the wall hard at the exit of turn 2, and the 67 rather, of Cameron Hearn is also involved. And both of these trucks were eliminated from.
Stuck in behind.
Oh, spin out of turn 2. This is 21 of Weinland, and big hit on the back straightaway.
Oh,
and a
couple guys involved.
Yeah, that's a big one. 55 trucks also stopped. We stay green for
really?
now. Somehow.
All of his other championship competitors are directly ahead of them, save for Beckner.
Oh, Shane Wolf turns around turn 4, spun out, and right in front of the 58 gets back rolling. But a driver that led a whole bunch of laps brings out our 13th caution on the night.
3 wide for just a second, entering turn 3, still side by side.
Oh, spin! Out. Kind of. I don't know if they got all the way around. Happened around the 58. Ooh, the 31. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Oh, that.
I mean, I wonder if there was any frustration in that, because when Shane was getting himself righted back in the right direction after the last caution.
54, Colin Fambro licking his lips if he could squeeze down there as well.
Taking the back, the 58 to 31, wrecking on the back straightaway. The caution is back out in the air.
Uh-oh.
And the drama continues.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. The 81, though, will add to his win total here at Martinsville Speedway tonight. He will go into the final round of the championship. He will be one of your final 4. Brad Slaughter Jr. wins at Martinsville.
Good. That battle across the line close. Anasoga just going to get Martin as he crossed the line for 7th place.
Great run there by the 19, but not in the top 4 of the playoff competitors. Back live here from Michigan International Speedway for the CNC Log and Truck Series playoffs, round number 4 of 5. Next week, we finish out the season at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, but tonight, 85 laps around this 2-mile oval. Here's a quick look at practice speeds while we're having a look at it, but we'll get into point standings here in just a moment as well. Ryan Hart's quickest in practice and a Sogak second. Brad Slaughter Jr., the points leader, runs down in 6th. But he's sitting pretty after last week. So here's a look at your point standings coming into the night. Brad Slaughter locked into the championship 4. He's good to go. Everyone else mathematically could get knocked out, but I think really the likely cars you're going to see shuffle are Shane Wolf, Hallman, Irvin, and Anasoga. Those are really the 4 that can kind of move amongst themselves without too much trouble.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, where it was really tight for that last spot. I mean, it's going to be essentially, there's 4 guys essentially within 6 points of each other for that final spot. Again, Fambro and Hartz, they're not completely out of the clear, because they're not locked in like Brad Slaughter. They don't have that comfort of knowing they're locked in. They do need to at least have a decent night and make sure they finish the race. Otherwise, I can easily open up a spot. But yeah, it's going to be interesting between those 4 to see what they're going to do. They're going to play it a little bit more conservative, or they're going to try to play it a little risky.
Yeah, we'll see. Last night we saw a bunch of drivers go pretty conservatively. Cameron Hearn really tried to be aggressive last night in the strategy. It just did not pay off as well as he thought it would. The same deal with Brad Slaughter Jr. last night. He took a real Hail Mary at the strategy, hoping it would play out, and it definitely did not. So he's happy to be locked in for next week's race at Las Vegas. Everyone else, though, still fighting for spots. Tyler Hallman, by the way, running 5th here in practice. Shane Wolf down in 8th. So, again, 1 point. That's an important point. You also get a point if you're on pole tonight, so qualifying could be very important to some of those drivers that just need 1, 2, or 3 points. And Torvin Irvin down there in 6th, he's right there in the mix. So he's just got to beat Hallman and Shane Wolf, and then he can really call himself a championship 4 driver tonight. So Shane Wolf, Hallman, and Irvin, they all know the deal. And Sogak's got a little bit more work to do. Fambro and Hartz, they should be fine, assuming that this race doesn't go like a disaster for them. Fambro's 19th right now in practice, though. That's not a great start to the night.
No, it's really not, but we've seen him usually find his way up in the order. I think it's the same thing in Martinsville, where he was really poor in practice. I think he qualified somewhere in the top 5, at least top 10, and ran there for most of the race, bar any issue for him during the night. So I think he'll run pretty well. But yeah, most of our competitors actually, I noticed Paul Irvin, Ryan Hartz up near the top. Irvin in the midfield. So there's a couple of guys doing pretty well. Anasoga in 2nd, Irvin in 3rd, actually. So the championship competitors on the bubble, they seem to be doing pretty well. And I mean, you pretty much have to be putting your best foot forward, because for 4 guys, they're going to be walking out of here empty-handed for next week.
Fans, be sure to check out areiiracing.shop for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Shop from our selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. Use code HAPPYHOUR for 10% off the areiiracing.shop site. Qualifying time here from Michigan International Speedway. We'll head down to the racetrack and follow some of our playoff competitors, and James Shainwolf was one of those drivers we pointed out. He comes across the start-finish line to begin his flying lap here, finishing off into turn 1. Speed's almost 190 here. These trucks are pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're going to be mostly full throttle for most of this track. I don't really anticipate the tire wear being too significant. Definitely later in the part of the run, they're going to start wearing off, but that's not going to be a huge issue. If we're on the older version of this track, I think it would be a much bigger issue. But these guys are going to have a lot of unthrottled time, so it's going to be all about getting the momentum coming out of the corners.
Yeah, so Shainwolf through turns 3 and 4. I did the lap a little earlier and tried to stay flat through 1 and 2, and it was a little harder than I was expecting it to be. So Shainwolf across the line in the number 31. First lap down in the books of 39.926. He'll go to the top of the board. For now, Beckner, Swan, the next couple drivers across the line. Ryan Hartz heads down the back straightaway in the number 3 in his Launchbox Chevrolet. And playoff competitors in the lighter green color on the timing and scoring. The non-playoff competitors are the ones with the darker green background and are not competing for a championship.
Yeah, that number getting lower and lower. We went from 12, we went to 8, and then soon to be 4. And so far, still waiting on guys to get laps. And Hartz across the line. He's done 40.33 last time through.
Ryan Swan up to second place. Here is Bobby Tinch in the number 66. Not a playoff competitor, but a really solid first lap. A 40.274. I do think we're going to see lap 2 be a hair quicker. We'll see if that's the case. It wasn't for Shainwolf. It was for Ryan Swan. It was not for Beckner, so kind of hit or miss here as Tinch rounds turn 4.
Yeah, Justin Anasogak, he's going off into turn 1 for his first flying lap as Tinch is coming back across the line.
And that time through a 40.002, picks up a spot. You mentioned Anasogak here. He comes down the back straightaway, the number 19 Toyota. Elite Entertainment on the side.
Yeah, halfway down the backstretch, and really it is just pretty much everyone full throttle while the tires are nice and grippy. It's then you're going to have to qualify like you would on a super speedway, although a little bit more technical because depending on the angle you enter and exit the corner, you can gain or lose a lot of speed and lose a lot of time. And so that's going to be it for him, 39.829 up on pole. How about that?
By 0.07 of a second. I was surprised that he didn't go for another lap. That was his only lap, and he went straight to the top. Tyler Hallman is getting warmed up here on the inside lane. Again, he is one of our playoff competitors and has just a little bit of work to do tonight. Paul Irvin is sitting on pit lane, hasn't rolled, and here's a man from last night that threw his hat in the ring in the strategy bucket. Didn't work out for him in the truck series, but just competing for victories at this point.
Ooh, Hearn actually coming to a stop. Did not like the run off the corner, so he's going to give up this lap. He's only going to have one more lap when he gets reset and ready to go. Across the line for the 42, though.
Just starting the lap.
His lap.
I think he's just kicking off the lap right now, off into turn 1. And just listen, it is flat to the floor. Revs just dropping with the tire scrub. Through turns 3 and 4 for Hallman.
And see where the money is going to be. Across the line for him, 39.9. It's going to be right around the mid, actually close to the front, I think third?
Third place, yes. So Tyler Hallman jumps up to P3. Cameron Hearn is back on track in the number 67. He's going to kick off his second lap there.
Really, I was a bit surprised that he decided to give up that run. I guess he felt it was good enough. And I mean, we have seen obviously with Anasogak that you really do only need one lap.
Oh, spin for Hearn off turn 2.
As I say that.
And grinds to a halt, and that will be it for Hearn's qualifying effort. Gets into the wall as well. Here's Fambro. We didn't see a very strong run in practice, but who really knows the speed that a driver has in practice? I think in qualifying we're due to see a bit more of your real pace. Not a lot of takers in qualifying, surprisingly. I would have thought we'd had more drivers by now. Maybe waiting out the weather a bit.
Yeah, I guess some guys just waiting to the end of the session. I mean, you only need about a minute and a half, minute 50 seconds to put in all your complete laps. So I guess some guys decided just to wait until the end, wait till everyone's gone.
On board with Fambro here. The exit of turn 2, now down the backstretch. Watch the speed and gear, bottom right of the screen. Last night we saw a little bit of shifting in the Cup Series cars from 5th down to 4th when the tires started to wear out. We will not see any of that tonight with the 4-speed old-school transmissions in these trucks.
Yeah, running the top lane, so obviously this is not going to be his main lap. So just building up speed, building up momentum, and now here he's going to go for the main flyer.
40.385 will be dead last on the timing and scoring sheets right now, but as you alluded to, that's not all the speed that this 54 truck has.
Ooh, a little bit of a wiggle on the back end in the middle of 1 and 2. Force him to walk up the track.
Into turn 3 now. Fambro at 185 miles an hour on the back straightaway and hunts for that middle groove. You know, we were talking last night about the differences between Fontana and Michigan. I think Fontana, you're looking for the extremes all the way to the bottom, all the way up top. At Michigan, you're kind of in the middle. And Fambro across the line at a 40.031. Good enough for about 9th spot, 10th, make that 11th spot rather. Not quite as good as I was expecting. Here's a guy that really needs a good run tonight, Paul Irvin.
Flying through 3 and 4.
Second lap. This will be it for the number 9. Needs only a couple of points. But 39.980, that's good enough. That's a pretty solid lap. That'll put him in 9th. Eric Weinland is the only other driver on track that hasn't set a time yet. Cameron Hearn will not get a time. Ed Robertson has not yet qualified. Here comes the 21. Lap 1 is a 44.719. I think he's going to go a little quicker on lap 2, though.
I think he's going to hope he can go a little bit quicker on lap 2.
About 4 seconds off the pace, so he needs to find something somewhere.
I was going to say he's in a Rick Ware truck and a couple seconds off the pace.
Jacob Bell improves to 11th for the number 77. Here comes Weinland into turn 3. Across the line. He will be the last driver to take a time. 39.948 for Weinland. Good enough for 6th.
Pretty solid effort right at the end of qualifying. Don't think Robertson is going to be planning on putting a lap in.
Hearn's going back out, but he's used up his laps.
Yeah, Robertson has declared not to qualify, so he's done.
All right, so with that, Justin Anasogak will be on your pole tonight. And again, looking at the point scenario, he needed to have a good night, and he will pick up a point just by having this pole position to make that -5 to the cut line. That was an important point for Anasogak to get. Of all the drivers in this list other than Beckner, he was the driver that needed it most.
Yeah, what a way to step up to, right? To get a pole position when you really need it the most. And this is the first pole position of the season. So, I mean, what a way to get that first one right where you need it the most.
Yeah, certainly. There's probably not a better time. Maybe next week, if you make it to that championship 4. As we wait for the race to launch now, 25 seconds remaining here in qualifying, and Justin Anasogak and Jordan Martin will be sharing that front row. Again, we're at Michigan International Speedway, round 4 of 5 in the CNC Logging Truck Series playoffs. Watching Sim TV, I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney and DeCuna. We'll be launching this race here shortly. And again, having another look at the weather, I didn't think this was going to play into the race a lot. We did see a lot of tire wear last night, though. That was not something that we really had to contend with much at Martinsville because of the short runs that we were having. So tonight, tire wear will be a discussion on drivers' minds and with their teams and crews. So we'll keep that in mind tonight, that tires will matter quite a bit once we get deeper into the run. But that's time to go through the starting lineup here. So we'll head down to the racetrack in just a moment and kick things off. Starting on the first row tonight, in the number 19, he's a playoff competitor trying to get into that Final Four. Justin Anasogak in the number 19 truck. There he is in the Elite Entertainment Toyota. Alongside him will be the number 11 of Jordan Martin. He'll start in second.
And moving on in behind them, Tyler Hallman, another driver again on that bubble. You're going to be looking to try to get in, trying to beat the man next to him. James Shainwolf rolling off in 4th and 31.
Starting on the inside of row number 3 is the number 1 truck, Ryan Swan in the BlairRaces.com Chevrolet. Eric Weinland rolls off 6th in the number 21.
Back in 7th place is going to be Danny Ware in the number 18 truck, and next to him, Brad Slaughter Jr. He's in 8th, and he's locked in, doesn't have to worry about anything that tonight.
Be a fun race for Brad Slaughter Jr. 9th place will be Travis Beckner in the number 28. It is a long shot for him to make it into the playoffs. If he could win this race tonight, he would be in, but that's a tall task with a field this strong. Paul Irvin, he's only a couple points out. He rolls off 10th.
Ryan Hart's another driver who's pretty solid and clear. Doesn't really have to worry about a whole lot. Just needs to make sure he gets to the finish line, so he's going to be rolling off on 11. In 12th next to him, Jacob Bell in the 77 truck.
Starting in 13th place will be Bobby Tinch in the Streamlight number 66 Toyota. And Colin Fambro, the number 54 GoPro truck, rolls off on the outside of row 7.
Moving back to 15 is going to be AJ Roderick, going to be in the 56 truck next to him. Jane Litzenberger in the 12 truck, going to be rolling off in 16th.
17th place will be the number 5 of Garrett Grant in his Ford F-150. Logan Hartman will start behind him in the number 51 in 18th place.
And back in 19th, you see Cameron Hearn in the 67. It'll be a long way forward for him. I imagine he's got some pace in that truck, but it's going to be a long way starting from the back after spinning and qualifying. And Ed Robertson in the 64 going to be rounding out your field of 20 trucks for tonight.
All right, trucks are rolling off now. And let's get a look at our race analysis here. It'll be 85 laps in this race, about 170 miles. Got 20 drivers on the grid, 10 rows of cars at an altitude of about 1,000 feet here at Michigan International Speedway. So that's your race analysis as we head up onto the banking here and get these trucks paced and ready to race. If this race goes green from flag to flag, like we saw last night in the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series, we'll see about a 56-minute duration from green to checkered. And I expect that if we can get through the first 10 or 15 laps, we will go green here tonight, Finian. So drivers have to be able to adjust their strategy if they're planning on yellow flags.
Yeah, I mean, strategy is really going to be key. Like I said, with a caution coming out, we saw it at Homestead. That one caution came in early. A lot of guys came in, a lot of guys stayed out. The guys that stayed out really hurt them. For the rest of the race, didn't have another caution to kind of balance things out. So we could see something similar happen tonight. We could see one weird misplaced caution if you're not adaptive. For a lot of guys getting like the 19 and the other guys that are on that bubble for the playoffs, you need to be able to make sure you can make the right call.
Viewers on twitch.tv/Area iRacing, make sure to subscribe and follow. You get nice emotes with that as well. If you're on YouTube, head over to twitch.tv/Area iRacing. The catch, Area Racing all week long here, and watch the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series, the CNC Logging Truck Series, as well as the Lodge Box Series on Thursday nights. Time to go racing here from Michigan, the penultimate round of the season, and round 4 of 5 in the playoffs. Green flag in hand, heading into the start zone at Sogak, Martin, Hallman, Shane Wolf, Swan, your top 5. Green flag, and we're racing in Michigan. For the lead into turn 3, Jordan Martin drops to the bottom under Anna Sogak, 3 wide behind him for third.
Yeah, and these guys are already putting their foot down, trying to get as many positions as they can with everyone getting bunched up. Wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing these guys form lines like you would see at a super speedway, considering they're going to be on throttle for the first couple laps.
Yeah, this is wild stuff here early in the going. Everyone's got fresh tires. They all feel very maneuverable right now. Give it a couple laps. They might not be this brave. A little bit of side-by-side with Ryan Hartz and Danny Ware in the number 18. They almost came together there in the middle of turn 2.
Yeah, it's going to be big, though. You got to be careful being side by side like this. I saw Brad Slaughter on the bottom actually just had to give up a spot because he was getting a little bit tight down there already, being stuck down there.
3 wide for the lead, and Shane Wolf to the top spot. And he goes to the top. Look at this, slides up in front of the 11, and chaos behind him is starting to sort out, but Jordan Martin's got a big run. Big block by Shane Wolf. That was aggressive.
Yeah, surprise from the block there early on. Again, only going to lap 3. And a block down the front straight away, but Shane Wolf doesn't want to give up position, wants to make sure he leads the lap again. We're going to be talking about bonus points probably older than I already know. Anasogak's got that one for pole, and I'm not sure if he did actually manage to lead a lap, but you're definitely going to want to get every bonus point you can.
Anna Sogak now heading down the backstretch in that number 19. In terms of the laps led, he did lead one, so that's a crucial point in Anna Sogak's playoff points picture right now. Behind a big slide by the number 9 of Paul Irvin. He's moving forward right now with a vengeance, coming to the inside of the 3 down the front stretch. He's got Danny Ware, Colin Fambro behind him. As they're still side by side for the lead, they have yet to sort this out.
I mean, pretty much has to get up there, right? Because Shane Wolf, Anasovic, and Holman are all in the top 5, and he's the only one outside the top 10. Actually, he just now puts himself up into 8th, so he's slowly climbing forward. Yeah,
look at this side by side down the backstretch now for 2nd and 3rd place. Look at the 21 with a big run. Eric Weinland pushing Anasovic through. And behind him, look at this, the 42 on the bottom, the 11 on the outside, and I think that's Ryan Swan is going to try up the middle through turn 4, thinks better of it.
Yeah, you feel like Superman these first few laps, and then you slowly have to dial yourself back in. We're slowly starting to see you get a little bit more tame. Now these guys are starting to feel the tires starting to wear a little bit. Slaughter just poking his nose on through, almost gets clipped by the one of Swan.
Yeah, he's locked in, so he can race a little bit more aggressively, but there was, I think, a little bit of contact there as he tried to shoot the gap. He's got nothing to lose tonight by going out there and running hard, but he'll slot himself next to the 11 as they race for 4th. They touch, and Jordan Martin spins in front of the field and is going to collect nobody. They all get through somehow.
That was a miracle.
Wow. That was about as big of a wreck as you can have with one car. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm genuinely amazed. He spun and locked down in front of the entire field. You're going to have to definitely run him more with the one truck. Ryan Swan, probably one of the best avoidance efforts I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, here's the 81, a Brad Slaughter Jr. points leader. He's locked in, racing the number 11, tries the side draft. The 11 moves left just a touch. That's all it takes. The 1, wow, what a great job he did to get slowed down. So did the 18 truck. Everybody scattered, and they all missed it somehow. That was insane.
I'm generally amazed that Swan managed to get around the 11 in the way that he did, because you will have to run on board for this, because this was crazy.
Oh, man.
If he continued up high, I think he would have been fine, but I thought he thought that Martin was going to spin up into the wall, but either way, he did a fantastic job.
Look at the 18, Danny Ware. Wow, what a move he made. A couple drivers diving for the grass.
Yeah, I was worried to potentially see that secondary wreck when everyone dives to the grass like that, but these guys definitely know what they're doing. A fantastic job by everyone involved. I mean, even Martin, too. He didn't really get a whole lot of damage, just some rear-end damage.
This is a bit of a surprise. Everybody down on pit lane except for the 9 of Paul Irvin and the 54 of Colin Fambro. Now, that's interesting to me because of the limited tire sets that you've got. I know this race isn't as long as the one we saw last night, but we did see people use all their tire sets. And a pit stop on lap number 7 is probably not a decision I would have made. Probably. But again, it's so difficult. Look at the drivers that stayed out versus that came in. Only 2 stayed out. Everybody else came into pit lane.
I think for Irvin, that might have been to get that lap led. That's what I'm thinking that he decided to stay out for. I will say, though, I feel like at least in the early stages of the race, when majority of the field comes in, especially through your competitors, I feel like you kind of want to come in because there's just so much more that can go on during the rest of the race. You don't quite know what can happen. So you already kind of put yourself in this box. And we saw this the same thing happen at Homestead. In fact, with Colin Fambro and Brad Slaughter. Those are the main guys that stayed out, decided to stay out, and it kind of bit them near the end of the race. They had okay races, but it could have been a lot better, and this is what I'm a little bit worried, putting yourself in this kind of box this early on with Urban.
Yeah, here's what I don't like. I don't like doing the opposite of what everybody else just did.
Right.
I don't necessarily disagree with the thought, but I do disagree that he's the only one to stay out along with the 54. The reason being is because now if the race goes green to the end from here, you're in a different spot. I liked where the 9 was running. I think he's in a good spot. He only needs a couple of points. I would have stayed on strategy with everyone and just try to outrace them until you get really put in a box. But right now, as you mentioned, he painted his own box, so did the 54, and now they're sort of stuck with what they've got in terms of if this race goes green. Now, if we get a couple of yellows this race and they're betting on that, then they're going to have an extra set of tires in the box later in the night. I don't hate that at all. So if that's the scenario, then they've made a very smart play. I wouldn't personally bet on having a lot of cautions tonight, though.
No, I definitely wouldn't. I mean, these guys, again, it's a decently sized field, not too terribly big, and all these guys are really highly skilled. And we saw at Homestead, we only saw that one caution that happened early on. We're lined up for a very similar scenario. That's why I keep talking about it. Very similar to what happened at Homestead. So it's kind of tough to bet on everything. Granted, all these guys are going to be very close together on these restarts, and I think that's going to be where we have the highest chance of getting the caution when they're 3 wide, going at each other's necks. But we might not see them go at each other's necks. It's only lap 8, sorry, of 85. So still very early on in the race.
Here's the other thing. Just in the 9s and 54s bucket here, is assuming the tires aren't going to make them drop like a rock here at the restart, which is possible, I guess. We've seen hot track temperatures. If they stay out relatively close to the front, there's a track position play to be fought here. If there's a crash in the mid-pack, this will get them away from it. Now, I don't know if we can bet on them staying up front for very long. And this is an interesting test for everybody else. Are 7-lap-old tires enough to want new ones? We're going to find out here shortly.
Yeah, I feel like they might start dropping to the pack. Maybe not like a rock, more like a pebble, I guess is the best way to put it.
Pebbles and rocks fall at the same rate, by the way.
Yeah, they do.
You
I know
pass
they
physics?
do. I did. I actually did really well in physics.
Okay, well, I didn't, so I'm glad somebody's paying attention. All right, out of turn 4, we're going to restart on lap number 9 of 85. Green flag back in the air. Irvin took the outside for the restart and got a pretty good launch.
Trying to break out into the lead. Fambro doing the same, trying to defend from the guys in behind. Shane Wolf, an immediate dive to the bottom. Going to take that bottom lane. He's going to be able to stick there with his fresh tires. Not as much for Irvin and Fambro, though.
Yeah, that you can just see the 31 just turned to the bottom and just stuck the nose up the inside of the 54. It worked out. Will he get the lead? The 54 we give a little bit of an arrow push to the number 9, but Shane Wolf is going to drive through, and there's the difference when they get to turn 3. And it's sizable, I'd say, sizable enough. I don't think this was worth the call for the 9 and the 54 as they exit turn 4.
Yeah, I think they're going to slowly shuffle on back. Again, it really depends on if the tires do start to fall off a cliff later on. But at the moment, they're holding station, but I feel like this is going to be a slow trickle back for them, depending. We'll have to see, though. I mean, because the guys on fresh tires, you can see how much grip they have in the middle of the corner, able to run that bottom. Question is, how much longer are they able to? But that being said, had a fantastic run off the corner. So.
That was a pretty good run, pretty good half lap for them. So maybe this difference isn't as much as we first hypothesized. 54 dives to the bottom of Irvin. That was a little bit of a close call there.
I guess it's similar to what we see in the IndyCar series, right? Because you see the tire wear, it doesn't really matter on your overall pace, but it really matters on how maneuverable and where you can stick your car or truck in this case. And we saw that the guys with fresh tires easily able to hold that bottom lane. The guys on old tires, Fambro and the 9 of Irvin, not so much. They're going to have to be in the middle to high lane. Yeah, you see Fambro drifting up.
Ooh, you see the 54 had to lift there, though, on the inside of the 9. That will hold up Shane Wolf. Ryan Swan's going to get a good run. Here's Brad Slaughter Jr. We know he's been aggressive today, although I wouldn't consider that contact really on him that he had with the 11 of Jordan Martin. Side by side for second through 5th as we enter 3.
Yeah, I think the best play is going to be what we're seeing Irvin doing, is just kind of where he can just keep and maintain that high lane. I think that's going to be his best friend, because can't really quite maintain that low lane. You're going to see Fambro kind of struggling a little bit. You see Ryan Swan trying to poke his nose. That one truck we saw him just narrowly avoid that earlier wreck. He's trying to look for the lead, kind of boxing, can't quite go low.
Irvin is leading the way, and these are, again, the longer you stay out front, the more laps go to your stat. You lead the most tonight. That's another point. Look at that side by side. The 81 and the 31 almost touched the middle of turn 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, we thought it was a questionable play, but it looks like it's playing out in Irvin's favor. Like, you just keep staying up in the lead, leading, getting those laps led for that extra point. We need, like you said, we need every single point. These guys starting to battle it out, and behind Fambro stuck in the middle.
This is a dicey moment here. 3 abreast out of turn 4. Shane Wolf tucks in behind. And the 31 is not going forward like we thought, and the 9 and 54 are still first and second. So they have saved a set of tires, and they are now leading this race. So maybe this is going to play out. We'll see how it continues throughout the night. Maybe they were the smart ones and everybody else made the wrong decision. That's rare, but it can happen.
Yeah, it really depends on how the rest of this race plays out. If these guys do need to come in extra time or not, or if the tire wear is going to be significantly worse towards the end of the run for them. But you never quite know because it's so early on, but so far it seems to be playing out okay because they're still in the top 3.
And again, I think there's so much left to be sorted out. You know, the potential for yellows is pretty high when we're pack racing like this. Once it starts to string out after 5 or 6 laps, then we get the chance to go green flag racing for a very long time. That's what happened last night. And once you get one green flag stop in the books, the chance for a yellow drops a lot. The 1 car, big slide through 2. But he turns it down to the middle and carries on, but he had that rear end hanging out.
When in doubt, slide it out.
There's a 3 on Brian Hart's on the bottom in turn 3 underneath Brad Slaughter Jr., who's actually gone backwards since the restart.
Yeah, I've been surprised at how quiet he's been this race, particularly because he's got nothing to lose.
Well, he has been a little bit wild in the mid-pack, but he hasn't been up as close to the front as I was expecting him to be. Drops in the line on the outside. Look at these front 3. Shane Wolf again all over the bumper of Ryan Swan. Whoa, that was a little tight off of 2. Lots of side-to-side movement on the straightaways. That's how that first incident happened.
Yeah, and Irvin is still doing a fantastic job. Really impressed by the way he's been running. I mean, definitely looks like he could be a race winner. I was a bit doubtful because since we've started the series, we really haven't seen him do particularly well. He's been doing okay. But this run in particular, really, really strong. I mean, actually, it's not surprising he did really well at Auto Club earlier in the season and ended up finishing 4th there.
Yeah, you know, I was trying to draw some parallels to Auto Club. Wow, look at the 54 and 3 off of 2. The tracks, while they are shaped the same from above, and you know, you might see some drivers do well at both of them, they are pretty different in how they're laid out. A little bit more banking here at this track, a little wider at Auto Club. You can use really the extremes of the racetrack at Auto Club, the outside up against the wall or the bottom right against that yellow line. The middle groove is kind of no man's land. Here it's kind of the opposite, where the middle is the place you want to be, and the extremes way up by the wall and way down by the line aren't really the preferred lines around here. So those are the major differences, so it's not going to look exactly the same as the Fontana race earlier this year, but you can certainly draw some parallels.
Also want to know for Irvin is yet to get a win in this league. He's finished second quite a few times, including one time this season at Kansas earlier on. So looking to get his first win. I mean, he's looking pretty strong. He's actually started to break away a little bit from Ryan Swan, about a 2/10 of a second gap.
Well, a win cures all, so if you can get the job done tonight, you can move on to that final 4 group that heads to Las Vegas vying for a championship trophy. And next week, get rid of all the extra points. It's just whoever finishes in front of the other. That always brings in a unique dynamic in a championship race. Better hope you practiced up on Las Vegas. Sogak in the 19. Strong start tonight, but has started to fade a little bit. As your pole sitter this evening, got that crucial extra point. 2 points for leading the lap and getting the pole, but now is beginning to fade, so he's got to try pretty hard and make sure that he's focused enough to not lose too many more spots and kind of fade into obscurity for the rest of the race. Ryan Hart's coming forward.
Yeah, I was thinking out of nowhere, talking about him being quiet. I guess he might have heard that and decided to prove us wrong. Slowly working his way up, decided to just make a push from around 6th or 7th a couple laps ago, and now finding himself in the lead. I don't think Irvin has too much to really be able to fight for this at the moment. He's just really been sticking to the outside lane.
Oh, slide! Ryan Swan out of turn 2.
Yeah, and a great save, although he's going to lose quite a few positions in the process.
Had the thing hanging out. Makes me worried later in this race if we're getting that loose only a couple laps into the run. What are we going to do side by side here?
Yeah, I was also just going to point out, you just saw the 67 of Cameron Hearn. He's made some great progress forward. You saw him start pretty much from the tail end of the field back in 19th, up 14 spots into 5th.
And still coming with a big push from the 54. With a head of steam. We're beginning to see the field start to stretch itself out now. And I think all the drivers know this. They've all seen these races. They participated in them all season long. They know how they're going to go. Once they single file out, it gets very difficult to pass. It becomes a green flag strategy race. And some drivers might be trying to get that last big dive in before they lose the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, you're really starting to lose the drivability on the tire, where you can just kind of place the truck anywhere in the corner without scrubbing off speed. As you mentioned, it just gets a lot harder now. The tires starting to wear off, so trying to get those positions while the tires are still good. That being said, though, you can easily make a dive and put yourself out of line and lose quite a few spots because they're all still very close together. The entirety of the field's within pretty much 6 seconds, except for Jordan Martin, who's actually 1 lap down.
Yeah, he came down to pit lane, I think, and that's what put him a little bit further back. A little bit of shuffling on the back straightaway here. A.J. Roderick, I think, in the 56. 5 of Garrett Grant, all exchanging positions. 51 of Logan Hartman is there as well. As we come out of turn 4 and hit lap number 22. And fans, be sure to check out the area iRacing.shop for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Shop from our selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. Use code HAPPYHOUR for 10% off. And about 10% of this race has been led by this guy. Brian Hart's in the number 3. A couple of laps in the books for him. Paul Irvin, Shane Wolf, Hallman, and Hearn, your top 5 here, as we are pretty much at the 1/4 mark of this race.
Everyone pretty much settling in for the long haul here. Try to look where some of our other championship competitors are. It looks like for the most part they're all, I guess kind of makes sense, they're all in the top 7. All the guys on the bubble. Anna Sogak sitting in 7th. Todd Hallman sitting in 4th. Shane Wolf in 3rd. Irvin obviously in 2nd place. Although Beckner way down the order in 17th. He's really struggling.
Yeah, has some internet issues as well, and he's got some right side damage on that truck, so he's been in the wall. And we saw last night that right side damage is a death sentence here. This track is extremely aero sensitive, unlike where we were last week at Martinsville. So try to keep the truck out of the fence as long and as late as you can. It'll hurt you and slow yourself down. Here's the 21 under fire from Brad Slaughter Jr., who again, after a good launch on that restart, has begun to fade a little bit. Here comes Danny Ware in the 18 Toyota.
You're going to see where he's going to try to put that truck though as they come flying off the corner. Slaughter making it a little difficult.
Yeah, Ware kind of ran out of steam as soon as he got out behind the 81. The slipstream in these trucks is pretty significant, not in a way that will let you draft right by somebody, but it will cut the drag until you get to them, and then you kind of hit a bubble where you can't move forward. So you can draft right up to the driver and then have trouble popping out and completing the pass. Garrett Grant having a look at Danny Ware. Is there a little bit of damage to the front splitter on this 5 truck, or is that?
I noticed that. I don't quite. Yeah, that definitely doesn't look like it's part of the Ford, like normally part of the Ford. Let's see where he got that.
Got another Ford in the field, maybe.
Maybe it is actually. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell.
We have to wait until they come back around again, but might be a little bit of damage on the nose of that truck.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah, I didn't know. It's supposed to be flat.
Yeah, a little bit of damage.
It's funny because it is actually, looking at it head on, it actually does look like it was purposely done.
Well, whatever he did, he perfectly did it. Hasn't slowed him down a ton. Yeah, the whole front of that truck is actually pretty well flattened out. Because I was looking at just the splitter, but you got a side angle, you can actually see this Ford Performance area, and the upper grille is also bent, so he's running to the back of somebody pretty well. Now you have to wonder, what truck did he run into? Because with that little bit of damage on that truck, there has to be damage somewhere else. Where?
Huh. So the interesting thing was actually that he didn't actually hit anyone.
Oh, whoa, he's going to crash into the 18 through turn 2. A little bit
of hit someone from the front there.
Yeah, they were scraping doors through turn 2, but go ahead and finish.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is he actually got hit from behind on lap 2 by Ed Robertson, and that sent him down from the banking. It was actually right around here. He went down onto the apron, and I think when he hit the apron, that dented the splitter in.
That'll do it. Just enough to damage the truck, but probably repairable if you spend a little bit more time in pit lane, or maybe not worth repairing at all.
Nah, I don't think so. It seems to be pretty minor, and like we said, it really doesn't seem like it's affecting his performance.
How about Ryan Hart's just sprinting away to a pretty solid lead right now. And again, he didn't need to go out there and really dominate this race. He just has to finish pretty well. Now, Irvin and Shane Wolf, they just don't want someone like Beckner to go out there and win this race. Here's another look at the points. If Beckner or Anna Sogak were to win this race, Irvin and Hallman, and actually Shane Wolf for that matter, would kind of be in trouble. So everyone's kind of keeping their eye on that cut line coming into the night. Hallman's running 4th right now. Shane Wolf running in 3rd. So Shane Wolf right now retaining 4th spot. Colin Fambro, though, a couple spots behind. He's got a big enough lead on everyone else that he should be okay.
Yeah, keyword is she should be. We really quite don't know because it's so close. I'm curious because I think at the moment between the two, Irvin I think has more laps led than the rest of them. So if Irvin was to finish, if they were to finish as they were now, I think Irvin might actually end up tying with Shane Wolf. But I think Shane Wolf would break that tie with the win to his name. With the season. Irvin obviously doesn't. So
Let's hope for our sake that it gets a little bit easier to figure out by the end of the race. Separate out a little bit so we can do some better calculation.
I think what's going to happen is going to be like what happened at the Roval. We're going to have a three-way tie in the points.
5 of Garrett Grant, bottom of Ryan Swan, and he was going to slide in front of the one.
He's trying to. Ooh, he's going to slide a little too much. Wow, almost wrecking loose off of turn 2. Here comes Swan with the run on that inside lane.
Roderick had the nose of his truck in the mix. Kind of got shut out of that battle for 12th, or 11th rather. Big slide by the one truck right in front of Garrett Grant. Little slide job there out of 4.
Brad Slaughter also side by side with the 21 of Weinland for 7th place just up the road.
There were 2 truck tangoing there for a second. The 64 and 56 and 5 and 1. And again, you're still, I'd like to ride on board here with the number 5. Let's just see how much they're lifting out of the throttle at this point, if at all.
Ooh, almost a wreck between Slaughter and Weinland. Coming off of turn 2, basically Slaughter walked up the hill, pushing in a little too hard. Weinland had to get slam on the brakes to avoid contact.
Go back and have a look at that.
I'm surprised you haven't seen more of this type of incident.
Back a little bit further.
A little bit, yeah. Sorry, it's the 81 nice and calm on the bottom. It just gets really tight. And see the 21.
Great reaction.
Yeah.
Saw it coming and knew enough to jump on the brakes. But that is a withdrawal for Brad Slaughter, and we'll see if deposit's made a little bit later.
He did apologize on the radio, so I'm just I want to say it's all good. I mean, if he keeps doing it, then at some point,
I'm sure Brad Slaughter wants to think it's all good too, but we'll see how the drivers take that. Again, once or twice, you're generally going to forgive that. 3 or 4 times in, it's going to be all right. Gave you enough chances. Despite the lack of bats and balls, there are still strikes in motorsport. I like that quote.
Yeah, the strike is basically getting turned into the outside wall.
Whoa, yeah, the 67 on the outside of the 31. Yeah, that'll hurt a lot harder than getting hit by a baseball, I'll tell you that. Look at the 54 squeezing up the outside of the 31, giving a shove to Hearn in front of him. All momentum play now. The trucks are lifting. They're lifting out of the throttle. They are having to slow down a little bit, but it's so much about momentum play. This is like driving Miatas at 180 miles an hour. You really got to carry speed through the corner and get back on throttle sooner.
I mean, it's exactly like how it's driving Miatas on a speedway. Ask how I know that.
How do you know that?
Back when there was not much content on iRacing, MX-5s at Charlotte were like a legit thing and hosted for like quite a while.
Man, you were one of the OGs, huh?
You know, it was a really weird time.
We did a league where we raced Riley DPs on ovals. That was a blast.
Yeah, that was a blast too.
Look at this battle here. Tyler Hallman up the road. Cameron Hearn to the middle of the track.
Ooh, getting a little tight.
And one car hits pit lane. That's Paul Irvin.
Not surprising.
Yep, coming on down at lap 33. So this will be a 2-stop race for the 9.
I think it might be a 2-stop race for everyone else too, because I think they only went like 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, we'll see where the rest of the drivers pit. Last night we saw a big differential in pit time when drivers came to pit lane. Look at this battle out of 2.
Yeah, very tight. Everyone, it's kind of funny because we thought everyone would get a little bit less racy as the run went on, but it seems like it's starting to pick up here just before pit stops, or just as we're approaching the eve of green flag pit stops for the rest of the field. Obviously seeing Irvin come in early because he came in, or he hasn't come in, I should say. Same thing with Fambro, is not coming this lap, so he actually can continue to go on a little bit more.
Yeah, the halfway point of this race is roughly lap 43. Fambro, who is that?
He's back.
Okay.
Fambro, flash joke.
Lap 43 would get you to the end. So that's only about, 8 laps from now?
Yeah, I think they don't. I mean, maybe they can. It's going to be really tight. See how far they can go. Jacob Bell will come in fairly early. So I'm curious to see how many of these guys, if they planned on continuing on, or if they know they can continue on on one more stop, if they save enough gas. I don't feel like anyone really has been saving gas on the looks of it.
And what about, let alone fuel? Let's talk about tires. Have a look at the lap times here by the race leader. We saw this last night. The previous lap about 2 seconds slower than your fastest. So you're probably more limited by tire than you are with fuel because you don't want to blow tires out. We've seen that happen at high load racetracks like this one in the past. So take care of your Goodyears. You don't know what the wear is going to be like quite yet. You saw them on lap 7 for the majority of the field, or they saw what tire wear they were running, but they don't know what their tire wear looks like after 25, 30 laps of racing. You do not want to take that chance if you're in the playoffs. Swan on the outside of A.J. Roderick.
Here comes Fambro. Fambro into the pit.
Whoa, he missed it.
Misses it. Oh, that's going to cost him.
That cost him a bunch of track position here. He tried, but just was coming in too hot, too fast, too furious. Yeah, that wasn't really even close.
No, yeah.
There's actually, you're not going fast enough to really feel like you need to slow down early, but you're not going slow enough to make pit lane.
Yeah. Also, just want to make a correction too. Even though it's about a few laps till halfway, I think everyone else is still going to have to make an extra stop too because they got that extra. They're running on that extra 5-6 laps of fuel. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a little bit too close to go all the way on the end on one more stop, but everyone trying to stretch it. Now, I honestly think Irvin might be doing a little better because if you're going to have to make 2 stops, you might as well space it out a little bit, right?
Well, that's the thought.
For all we're seeing.
Assuming that you're going green. Now, Irvin also has that extra set of tires in the bank for if we were to get a late race restart, which is I really like having. Now, this might play out to his favor if this race goes the way that it's going right now. If you go green a long way, then have a late race restart, it's going to be the 9 and the 54 versus everybody else. No other drivers on pit lane just yet. And for Ryan Hart's the race leader, here's a look at stint information. 32 laps to go for him.
Actually, Framber decided to stay out again.
Fambro, just so we can get some numbers here, 39 laps on this tank. So if you can go 43, only 4 laps from now for the 54, then you're good to go to the end. And for everybody else, 39 laps, 40 laps, they're going to be very close.
I might have heard Slaughter say he's coming in. I'm not quite sure. I think he is coming in.
Slaughter on my timing sheet. There he is, P4. Here he comes. He's going to bring the 18 with him. Danny Ware, a big charge on pit lane. He's going to get it slowed down. Big moment, but he gathers it up.
There goes Fambro as well. Old Toyota's coming in.
Nearing the halfway point. 33-lap run for this crew, and for the lead on the backstretch. Well, actually, this is not quite for the lead. Cameron Hearn is 3/10 back.
So unlap yourself in the lead.
Battle for something. Track position. Keeping yourself on the lead lap, that's important.
Actually, the 9 and the 77 are battling for position.
And here comes Hartz at lap 40. Here's Shane Wolf and Weinland. These two are battling for position. And this is for 3rd place. Throw Anna Sogak in the mix.
Things are heat up here as pit stops are started.
Yeah, they're about a third of the way through and closing in about halfway through. Hartz leaves the box and a little bit of a long stop, 14.5. Now, I should also mention that the top 8 that are on the racetrack right now, they only took right side tires the last time they came in.
Oh, yeah.
So that's interesting to note. And it made a big difference. So 2 tires might be a good call towards the end of the race, but again, depending on where you land, you might not have those 2 tires. Look at the 9 in the 67. Nope, it's the 9 and the 54 fighting for a spot. That's for 15th, and Fambro clears the 9.
Yeah, Irvin has not been doing too hot, and I'm not sure why. He looks pretty off the beat. It almost looks like he didn't change tires. He's really slow.
Yeah, it was 14-second stop, so he's filled the truck up with fuel at the very least, but you're right. 42-second laps is pretty far off.
Actually, you would also note to his pit stop is quite a bit quicker, but it's 13.6, and everyone else seems to be around 14 seconds. Do you think he might have only taken right sides?
Either that, I mean, he wouldn't be running a 42-second lap. The rest of the field took right sides at the previous stop and ran just fine.
He definitely did something, because it's just really weird how he's running so far. Because I was looking here, I'm like, why did... I was surprised that Jacob Bell actually passed him a little while ago, because Bell was way behind him. We just saw Fanbro Rocket past him. And the difference is only 5 laps, so I'm not sure.
Could he have checked the tires by accident, Finney, and only filled the truck with fuel?
Maybe?
Caution.
Oh, well.
Litzenberger back straight away. And that might have saved the 9 truck from some uncertain fate here. And a whole bunch of trucks have not made their second stop of the day and are going to be granted some freedom here.
And Irvin, he just came on the radio and said that just saved my life.
Yeah, so something happened here. Wow, a little bit of multi-truck accident. Beckner is also involved in this. But back a little bit further. Litzenberger out of turn 2. Up the racetrack and just gets into the wall. The 28 tags him and sends him around. Well, blocked it down. Took him a while to get the thing slowed down. Really slippery down there, huh?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, I guess it's no rubber down there, but yeah, that was surprising. That almost wasn't anything, but it took a while to happen. And I'm actually surprised because I've seen a lot of scenarios where there's a wreck down on the apron and no caution is thrown. So I'm a bit surprised. I guess they patched that at some point. And actually, of note, so I think our suspicion was correct that Irvin, he didn't take tires, not because he didn't want to. I think encountered a glitch.
Yeah.
Where the picker didn't take tires. He's wondering if they were eating snacks down there on pit lane.
Well.
So he didn't get tires. So that was a huge save for him, and that explains why you're so severely off pace.
And it only trapped a couple of trucks a lap down. So I think if they take the wave around, they should be just fine. So this didn't really mix a whole lot of stuff up. Here's what this did do, is this set us up to go straight to the end from here on this restart for those that are just pitting now. It'll be less than a 40-lap run to the end. We know drivers can do that. So I think we'll see everyone just try to make it to the end from here. They've taken now their second set of tires. They've got one left in the bank. They'll likely use that if we get another caution later in this race. Now, here's the challenge. If we get a caution in 10 laps, do you take tires or do you not?
It's a tough decision. It really is a tough decision. I think for the guys in the back, you're going to maybe try to follow the leaders, see what they do. It's a tough call to make, right? Because it really depends on the conditions. I feel like you might as well, because let's see, they were given 4 sets. They started on 1. So most people are on their 3rd set, so only got 1 remaining. It's tough. Well, it's a tough call to make.
While you're contemplating that, take this moment to remind you about Swift Lifestyles. Fans, be sure to visit our sponsor, Swift Lifestyles, for clean supplements that help improve your focus and gaming. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 15% off your entire order. We would like to thank Swift Lifestyles for their support of AREA. We are past the halfway point here in the AREA CNC Login Truck Series playoffs. This is round 4 of 5 in the 2022 season. Next week, it's our finale with our final 4, eliminating 4 of 8 playoff competitors tonight. So far, it's been mostly clean and green. What you got?
Sorry to cut you off. A bunch of leaders came back down pit lane. You can see pit lane's a bit busy down. Again.
Why would that be? Topping off the fuel?
That's the only thing I could think of. That's the only thing that makes sense. It's a lot of people that came on down.
Yeah, it looks like a top off fuel under 5-second pit stops for those drivers. That was peculiar, though, to say the least.
I think what that's telling us is that it's going to be very close on fuel, and that those guys think they can make it if they get a little bit creative with some fuel saving and topping off on gas. You can see there's only 6 guys out there that didn't come in. Everyone else came in to top off.
Well, certainly an interesting scenario here as we are just past halfway in our race here from Michigan International Speedway. Again, I'm Kyle Heyer and Finney DeCuna from SimTV here for the AREA CNC Logging Truck Series playoffs. And today, so far, it's been a mix of drivers up front, but lately it's been Ryan Hartz dominating this race. He will restart in 3rd. Having a look here at the weather information as we get closer to the end of this race. It's still hot out there. Track temp is increasing, but again, I don't think that's played a major factor in the handling for today like we usually see at other tracks. So, pit stops and a little bit of topping off for the majority of the field. Pace truck pulls off, and we're going racing this time through.
And the tire order completely mixed up is going to be Garrett Grant leading the field back to green. Slaughter, Hart's, Ware, Hallman, your top 5.
And a single file restart and a big checkup. Cameron Hearn gets the nose smashed in. No, that's not Cameron Hearn. That is Paul Irvin, who just had the nose knocked in on the number 9 truck. That's big damage to that truck as well.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. I'm surprised.
Just a big stack up, Finian. I think just watching the restart here. Watch
yeah,
high above.
It seemed like Weinland was the one that initially caused that, and a huge check out. A couple guys getting involved, notably Irvin and Fambro getting the biggest and second. You can see a slow check up, and then everyone slamming on the brakes.
4 playoff competitors involved in that one. That's big news because that's significant damage on the nose of the number 9 at least. The 54 is not off much better. Colin Fambro's got a pretty sizable chunk taken out of the nose of that truck.
Yeah, I think Irvin's the worst off. You can see he's visibly slow on the straightaway. You can see his truck there slow in the background, getting freight trained by the 66 and the 54. He's going to be done.
Well, that caution giveth and that caution taketh away for the number 9 of Paul Irvin. He is in trouble now, and that damage is probably not going to get any better with a pit stop. It might help him a little bit, but that's a lot of damage on the nose of that truck, probably unfixable, at least back to 100%. Meanwhile, up front, Hart's, Grant, Shane Wolf, Slaughter, and Hallman lead the way, and for drivers on the bubble, that was a good news for Shane Wolf and Hallman.
Yeah, Shane Wolf was getting to the quarter panel. Garrett Grant trying to get past the number 5. To get up to second place, couldn't quite get it done there. He's the only truck on that bottom lane. Everyone else running the top in the leading pack. And
wow, Shane Wolf
almost throws himself sideways trying to get down there and get past the 3. How about that, getting it done?
He just took the wheel and just chucked it left and got a little more steer out of the tires for just a moment. Some connectivity issues for Shane Wolf, though, as he tucks in line right ahead of the 3, who has led the most laps so far this race. Brad Slaughter Jr., he's locked in. He's been racing hard tonight. Tyler Hallman, another driver on the bubble. He needed a good night. He's having one. Top 5 for the number 42.
Yeah, those two are doing pretty good at the moment. Justin Anisogak, he's stuck in the back of this leading group in 12th. He only got damage to the rear of the truck, so it could be a lot worse. It doesn't have any damage to the front, so he should be good to go. You can actually just see, you just saw his white and green truck flash in the back of that pack. He's working the inside of the 64. So
5 of the 81 hard on the wall out of turn 2. Big crash for the 5 of Garrett Grant. He keeps it straight.
No caution.
Look out. That is day over for the 5 truck of Garrett Grant. What was a little imperfection in that front bumper is now a big one. Bam.
Ooh.
Slid across the nose.
Decent amount of damage to the 81. I mean, and the big thing for the 81 too, maybe not even be the damage. It depends on what the admins decide. If they decide it's a racing incident or a penalty for the 81, that can throw him on the bubble.
Yeah, well, the 81 is locked in because of his win last week at Martinsville, so he should be fine.
Sorry. Right.
Yeah, I don't really think there was anything to blame him for. There was a little bit of net code there that started that collision, and then it just finished off. Travis Beckner and Colin Fambro are on pit lane. Fambro's back off, but this night has gone very south very quickly for that 54 GoPro truck and the number 9 of Paul Irvin. That truck is looking very secondhand.
Yeah, and for Fambro, I would start getting a little worried now that the fact that he had to come in, that the damage was so severe. He's back in 19th. We had a fairly low attrition rate. Actually, none of the trucks have retired from this race. Everyone's sold. 20 that started are still running. Jordan Martin's actually only 15 seconds back from Fambro. So Fambro's back in 19th. His competitor, Jane Wolf, leading at the moment. So he has a chance of getting shuffled out of the top spot to potentially be out of the playoffs here. Ooh, there's a big dive. Here comes the 42 of Hallman. Aggressive move to the inside of 31.
And he was running like a cross-country runner out of turn 2. Just took that and sprinted to the lead off the top side in 1 and 2 and almost touched the back of the 31 as Shane Wolf tried to defend, but he couldn't do it. Garrett Grant is on pit lane. That truck is again done for the night. Beckner is on pit lane. He's likely done and out. He needed to win tonight. He will not, unfortunately. So with that damage, I think the 9 truck is really in peril here. Unless his competitors get taken out.
He's running 44s. Colin Fambro just rocketed past him a lap down. Should be easy for him to catch back up to the 9 without the rate he's going at. And at worst, I'm worried that truck might blow too. You see, if you get a decent amount of engine damage, that tends slowly start building up to the point where the engine detonates. So we don't know how much longer the nine's going to remain, as he's potentially a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, and again, quickly, we'll show you again the points picture coming into tonight. Irvin was 2 points back. He didn't even need an amazing night, just needed a good one. Allman right now leading the race. He's being passed by the 3 of Hearts, who is already in a good position. But Anna Sogak, Beckner, and Irvin all having tough nights. So this, we might walk out having our playoffs look very much like we expected based on how they came into the night.
And Hearts trying to work on the inside of Hallman, and 1 and 2 couldn't quite get it done. That outside lane, it's really tough to defend. At least in 1 and 2, 3 and 4, that inside lane, a lot more viable coming off the corner, a lot less aggressive of an exit. And he can just keep that run on the bottom better. Shane Wolf, he's just been chucking that truck into the inside and hoping it sticks, and for the most part that's been working, although I can't imagine his tires are too happy with him.
Well, remember, he's on the bubble. He led laps, so he's got that point in the book. I think Ryan Hart's... But
oh, sorry, I was going to say, with the trouble that Famro's faced, I can almost say he's in even a slightly better position. So, I mean, if as long as he keeps in Anasogak in behind, I think he should be okay.
So Hart's leads. He's led the most laps tonight, 25. He has been the dominant truck tonight. And Hallman, the driver that was below the bubble coming into the night, is running well. Shane Wolf was just above the bubble. He's running pretty well. And the drivers that needed to have good nights have just had catastrophic impacts that are taking out their chances. It's not over yet. Hallman and Shane Wolf and Hartz, they could all have collisions and end their night completely, like we've seen with Travis Beckner and Garrett Grant. But if things continue as they are, they're going to be sitting pretty in the playoffs for Las Vegas.
That's really the key word there. If things continue as they are, because
they never do. They never do.
Yeah, this race has been very unpredictable. It's changed several times. That had an early caution, going a little bit of loop for strategy, and then we had the main caution at halfway that really threw the entire race up on its head. And then that also on the restart, big checkup. Many cars, Fanbro and Irvin, getting severe damage to their trucks, pretty much taking them out of contention near the front and out of the race completely. So many championship competitors taken out. We still got about 30 laps of racing left to go, so a lot can change and a lot can happen.
See, the trucks just littered all over the track in various states of disrepair.
So it looked closer and closer to Martinsville last week. I'm getting little bits and pieces of damage.
Like a garage sale. All the trucks, various parts and pieces missing. I need a front bumper for an F-150. Oh, I need a tailgate for a Tundra. Well, there's a whole bunch of them sitting in the infield right now. You can go pick up later. Be a bidding war over those front bumpers, though, I'll tell you that. Ryan Hartz has been pretty unstoppable tonight. He has just put his truck into lead and is able to drive away, actually.
He's doing a pretty good job. Hallman actually using a bit of his bumper. We're just talking about it to give a bump to Shane Wolf. Had a really great run off of turn 2. Couldn't quite do anything that time, but he definitely has a truck able to get past the 31. Not sure if he can get past the 3, but like I said, it's about context. I don't think he's quite racing the 3 for the win. That would be nice, but his main competitor is this 31 truck.
A bit of a lift there on the straightaway. He knows right now the best play is just to follow the leader here. Oh, well, I'd say that. He goes to the outside now and tries to throttle up around the 31. Knew that the bottom wasn't the way the outside is, and he will take Shane Wolf to school on the backstretch. He'll go around the outside. Here's how, I was going to say, here's how close we are to the end of the race. Working lap 59 out of 85. It's 17 minutes until the checkered flag flies at this pace, so not a lot of time left. You got to move.
Yeah, I was going to ask if we can get a check and see if Fanro's led a lap. Just kind of curious with all the points going around.
No.
None to his name.
Oh,
that's also getting me worried.
Momentary, unfortunately, like his playoffs might be, that things continue.
It's gonna be close. I think Fanro's gonna be put on the borderline. I think it's gonna be effectively between him, Hall, and Shane Wolf as they run. It's gonna be a close tie. I think obviously one of them's got to lose out, but it is definitely gonna be close. I think for Hallman and Shane Wolf, not sure if they're aware. I doubt they're probably aware of how close it is, because I doubt they have enough time to even think about doing the math. when they're racing these kind of speeds, but I'm sure they know it is going to be close.
I know that Irvin came into the night, and Shane Wolf and Irvin, they were close enough that, it's 1 point. So basically, pole, and then leading the lap bonus point, leading the most laps bonus points, and then finish in front of him or behind him. That's really all the math they had to do. For Anna Sogak and others, it's a little bit more complicated, and I'm not sure that they're delving too deep into it. They're just trying to control their own destiny. At the end of the day, you just have to finish in front of the other guys no matter what. So, other positions aside, you need to beat the people that are ahead of you in the points to end up beating them out this evening.
Yeah, now the reason I'm looking at Fambro too, because he's back in 17th, he's catching up to Litzenberger in 16th, and catching up to Irvin, who's just still limping around here in 15th. So I think for Fambro, he's actually just getting around Litzenberger now. I think he should be able to finish 15th when it's all said and done. That's gonna, and he's 13 points ahead, or actually 12 points ahead of Shane. So, get your calculators out, because it's gonna be tight.
My grade school teachers told me I'd never have a calculator in my pocket, so I
yeah, that was a lie.
I'll do that by hand. Here's Hallman to the outside. He's made up a half a second on Hartz in the last lap alone and continues to go forward. So he's saved his tires well, and it's coming with a vengeance here, working lap number 63 this time through. Look at the run he's built. He just looks like he's going by that 3 like it's stopped.
Yeah, I was going to say, they basically take back what I said when I said he didn't think he had a truck for the lead. Definitely has one. Either that or the threes. I think he's starting to drop off a cliff.
Yeah, what happened there in turn 1? He just lost a whole bunch of ground to the 31 and 21.
I think he's just been pushing too hard. That's why we saw him. We saw him get out to a lead. It looked like he was just going to completely break away, but I think just used up his stuff too early, and now it's falling prey to everyone else behind. I think Hallman, though, definitely the best as far as saving the tires, so he's taking advantage of that now in this part of the stint. Shane Wolf and Weinland trying to take advantage.
Now here's where Shane Wolf's life gets difficult. Going back to the points here momentarily. Have a look. If Hallman wins this race, that complicates things a lot for Colin Fambro as well, because then Colin Fambro would be on the cut line. Shane Wolf would be below it. So that 54, again, comes into the night with a 13-point advantage over Hallman and Irvin, 14-point over Irvin. Things get very interesting if the 42 truck wins this race. It's going to totally shift the cut line.
Yeah, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be very close between Shane Wolf and Fambro. Effectively, those two are going to be racing each other for that spot, and as Fambro slowly crawling his way back up through the order, trying to get back every single point he can. Shane Wolf pretty much needs to go out there and just finish as high as possible. He's going to probably have to finish second or third minimum to have a shot.
While they're battling for second, Hallman is getting away out of the draft as well. That's a critical place to get away. If you can cut the draft, then you can kind of control your own destiny a little bit more. Danny Ware in the 18, by the way. We haven't really talked a lot about the 18 truck tonight. Started 7th. He's had a decent night, but the black Tundra kind of blends in a little bit, and he's been in the mix. We just haven't talked about him.
Yeah, he's also just completely driven out through the field. He was about 6th 5 laps ago. He just completely drove up. He's actually got enough pace. He's catching up to the lead. So a lot of comers and goers at this stage of the race. The big thing also we want to think about, too, we saw a bunch of the guys come in at the last, right before we went back green to top off on fuel. Remember, these guys technically have to save. From the way they've been racing the last 20 laps, I don't think any of them have been saving.
Yeah, it's been pretty aggressive here, and the lead that Hallman had, the gaps are coming. You mentioned comers and goers. They're coming and going extremely quick. Hallman had nearly a second lead a lap ago, and it's gone. Here comes Danny Ware to the inside down the backstretch. 20 to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just these guys maybe pushing it a bit too hard, maybe them getting in behind, getting some slipstream. I don't know if that's helping. I don't know what it is. Ooh, Hallman getting on the clutch.
Even a little bit of fuel. That could be part of it as well. I wonder, was that...
Oh!
Yeah, that's interesting. The 18 truck hitting pit lane.
I mean, if you know you can't make it, you might as well come in. He was one of the guys that did not come back in.
So where in all this did our previous leader go? Ryan Hartz has dropped to 9th because he is saving fuel. So that number isn't as close as we thought. These trucks running all on their own with all the air on the nose without the draft is losing them a lot of fuel.
Yeah, that makes sense why he dropped off a cliff. It's because he was trying to save gas. So that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, we thought.
And I think we're starting to see that with Hallman. And it looks like everyone else is slowly pacing themselves as well. I think they know if they stay in the slipstream a little bit, they can save just that much more fuel. Yeah,
I thought when they came and topped off, looking at the math, I thought they were going to be okay because we did see someone go 39 laps on the previous run, and it was just over 40. So I guess it was going to be close.
Well,
but
there's the caution laps in that too, so that's an extra 2-3 laps that they might have not been able to. So it is really close. I think they might be a lap or two short.
Yeah, I think they're burning a lot more this run, too, because they're out in the open a lot more than they were at the start of the race. We were running in a big pack, so that's probably contributing as the 18 pulls back on the racetrack. So knowing that fuel is a scenario now Tyler Hallman, I thought he was going to be pretty well set, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. Oh, he's off the throttle. He was clutching into turn 3.
Whoosh. Yeah, and no one's passing him. No one wants to be the guy up in front because they all need a save. It's a matter of pacing themselves out at the moment. Hartz, though, he's really far. You can actually see he's those two cars, the two trucks all the way in the back. He's one of those. He's actually the guy further in behind. He's 4 seconds back. I think he's might have burned up a little bit too much. He's having to compensate a lot now.
Yeah, Hallman was lifting and clutching. He leads the way down the backstretch. I don't want to be the leader, though, right now. I mean, these are laps to lead, so maybe you take that opportunity, but I don't think he can actually lead the most laps. I think the 3 truck has got claim to that at this stage, unless Hallman leads every lap from here on out. How many does the 3 lead? No, 33, so that's it. So Hartz is in the position to lead the most laps, assuming that nobody else continues to lead.
Yeah, no one's really
That
close
has already
up in
led.
front.
Yeah.
I think Urban might have been the next one, but obviously he's completely out of contention.
He led
Speaking
11.
of which.
He could, yeah, so he could, but he won't. No, he can't.
Yeah.
Mathematically, he can't. So the 3 truck has that extra point, so that's crucial for Ryan Hartz. Evenly split, too, on the laps led tonight. We haven't really had, 33 laps, I guess, is almost half the race, but pretty good split amongst the drivers that have led so far in this race. Wrong graphic here. I want to recap. 7 leaders and 12 lead changes. It's been racy up front.
Yeah, it's been really racy for. I mean, it makes sense with these guys up in a big pack, but a lot of guys coming up to the front and going. We've seen severely now as everyone's trying to save fuel, but at different points of the race, everyone's starting to show some strength and also starting to get a little racing here. It's actually 56 AJ Roderick trying to unlap himself with fresh tires and fuel.
Or it gets.
Ooh, someone pulled to the bottom.
That's
Litzenberger, I think, letting everyone by.
12. Before it gets too wild here, we got to get one more plug in here. Fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all Area broadcasts commercial free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merch. Make sure to subscribe, follow on twitch.tv/Area iRacing. 14 laps to go. And Hallman leads, but for how long and how much fuel is left in that truck's tank? It's going to be very interesting, a fuel run to the end.
Curious to see if we see anyone that runs out before they even get to the end, right? Because that's really going to cost you, especially our championship competitors, guys like Hallman and Shane Wolf who are at the front of this pack, right? They're probably saving the least out of anyone here.
Yeah, and the 18 bailed out early. Danny Ware knew, he's like, I'm not going to try this. He's not in the playoffs. He came down to pit lane. A little bit surprised we haven't seen more drivers roll that strategy yet.
I guess because they all feel more like they can make it. I guess that's probably why. I think Ware just said, you know what, might as well throw a Hail Mary.
If I was trying to make it and I was in the playoffs and I see 4 or 5 cars peel off to pit lane, I'm sweating right now. What am I not seeing that they already did, you know?
We did see Shane Wolf drop back to 5th. Bell, Swan, and Weinland all overtaking him because they feel like now it's time to go a little bit more. Maybe they've hit their number or they're close to hitting their number.
Yeah, Shane Wolf did clutch in momentarily there. But a lot less throttle when you're deep in draft like this, 5th in line.
Yeah, I am really concerned, though, with Hallman because he's been up in front this entire time. And granted, this is not a super speedway, so it's not... They have some off-throttle time, so it's not exactly the same scenario of being in front and is absolutely getting the worst fuel mileage. It's not going to be that severe, but definitely going to be saving less than the guys in behind him.
You know, if you could just get everyone to agree to slow down a little bit, it'd be that easy. But
that's kind of what they're at. They're kind of all running the same pace. If they wanted to, they can definitely go faster. But they're all in the same boat, so I mean, there's not really much point in going a whole lot faster.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Tyler Hallman slowed down even a little bit more, I think they would all stay in line with him. And everyone's trying to achieve the same goal here. They all just want to race it to the end, except I'm sure they wouldn't mind if everyone in front of them ran out of fuel, but the problem is if they run out of fuel, you're going to too.
Take a look at where Ryan Hartz is on the track. He's really struggling at the moment with something because he's 11 seconds off the pace.
Or he is trying to get safe on fuel and he's out of the draft. But let's listen as he heads down to turn 1.
He's definitely saving fuel, I think, but I'm amazed at how much time he's lost, though.
Well, again, he's kind of committed now, right? Like, at this stage, you're not going to get back the spots that you lost. Save a little extra. Maybe he's trying to save more for a late caution, assuming that these guys get wild. That's not a bad strategy either. But, again, if we get a caution, I would expect to see everyone hit pit lane and get that other set of tires they didn't take yet.
Oh, you're absolutely hitting pit lane. I would, if I'm the crew chief and you didn't come in, I would strangle you. As a driver, I'd get out of the track and strangle you.
Good, we have a healthy workplace relationship in the pit box on Finian Motorsports.
No workplace violence here.
Well, again, I think it's also tires too, right? It's fuel for a green-white checker, but it's also tires. We only have one green-white checker to factor in, but you're going to get swarmed if anybody takes a fresh set of Goodyears behind you.
Speaking of which, 42 of Hallman dropping on back as Swan, Weinland, and Bell overtake him down in the pits. That is a heat for 51.
Yeah, 51 of Hartman, but Hallman backs out. I think he knows he's not going to hit his number, so Ryan Swan takes over. The top 3 are not playoff competitors. They got nothing to lose up here. They're not going for a championship. They're just racing for a win. So they can really put it out on the line here. Hallman can't afford to do that, and you see him dropping back pretty quick. And you have to wonder if he looked down at the numbers and said, uh-oh. You know, as you get closer to the end of the race, you're starting to realize you're not saving as much as you need.
Yeah. I'm really curious again with Danny Ware. He's currently sitting 23 seconds. I don't think he's definitely not going to catch up to these guys. I think really for Ware, it's a matter of just getting the pickings of who doesn't save enough.
Or who bails late and it hits pit lane like we saw with Roderick and others. Yeah. If you haven't committed to the pitting strategy now, it's not going to work for you at this point. You've got to save it to the end or hope for a yellow. Which we could get. We could have a truck run out with 3 to go and stop on the racetrack and put us in a scenario, or have drivers crash as they pass lap traffic or other things of the sort. Someone runs out of fuel right in the front of a truck line of 6 or 7 trucks. You know, you could have yourself a real big problem. So caution isn't out of the question by any means.
Yeah, guys, working around Paul Irvin.
I think that's the biggest caution threat is imagine the 21 of Weinland runs out of fuel right now.
And
he'll get
Colin
hit.
Fambro working around Brad Slaughter actually just now. As Slaughter is really struggling with the severe amount of damage to his truck. So he drops back to 15, but Colin Fambro up into 14.
This truck is really hurting.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's on the way out by how it sounds. It's not getting up into the revs. So good thing he's locked in. Doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, Fambro, though, I think that's one more spot that puts him a little bit closer to being good and in, although his internet's still splashing in and out, so I think he's going to have to hold his breath a little longer.
Yeah, the 81 earned his mulligan last week at Martinsville.
And so we're starting to see some separation now. You saw everyone kind of sitting in behind the 42. The 177 seemed to be good to go. They started to break away from the pack. 42 really starting to drop on back. I'm a little concerned by this.
Yeah, again, this is when you get to this late in the race and you haven't saved enough, this is when you should be panicking. Ryan Hartz, he's 18 seconds back from the leader. Is he still saving? If he's still saving, everybody's in trouble. Yep, he's got the clutch in. So with 6 laps to go and you're 19 seconds back and haven't saved enough, everyone else is really putting themselves in a box. Ryan Swan's just running this out. I think he's just going to plan on hitting pit lane and knows everyone else is going to run out. That's a strategy too. You know everyone's going to run out, just go.
Playing chicken with the fuel mileage. Who's going to bite Cameron Hearn? He's deciding it's time to go. Bye, boys.
Man, this is, I haven't seen a fuel mileage race in a long time in iRacing. This is exciting.
It's really exciting because I have absolutely no clue who's good, who's not.
Why do people hate fuel mileage racing? This is amazing.
Yeah, no, I think because it's not as exciting as just going up there, door banging, and just out driving the other people. It is really just a lot of math.
I like the uncertainty of it.
Because it is really, especially because all of our guys are within like 5 seconds of each other too. It makes it a lot more interesting. Because we have so many people so close together. Some guys deciding to go for it and just say, to heck with it. I'm just going to go out and run it out. Some guys being a little more caution saving, and we have absolutely no idea which one of them are actually good and which are not good.
I was always disappointed by real fuel mileage races because it never seemed like the guy that I wanted to run out of fuel would run out of fuel. So it was always the guy made it instead of he didn't make it. I think it's a lot more entertaining when multiple people don't make it. Really on the edge. 4 laps to go for leader Ryan Swan. Jacob Bell is closing in from behind, and both of these drivers are on similar strategy. 37-lap old fuel tank here.
I gotta say though, if they do end up being in a situation where they are good enough to go to the end, because we are so close, I doubt they would want to come in now.
Well, here's the thing is, like I said, if they know they're not going to make it and everyone else is just saving and they know it's not close enough to save to, just drive out in front, get as much of a lead as you can because that will help you later. I mean, commit to it.
There's not much more later. This race is going to be over in 2 minutes.
Well, you say that, but these things suck a lot of fuel. They're having a hard time making it 80 miles on a tank of fuel, so.
Well, we'll see who's managed enough, who did the math right. Swan and Bell about to battle it out for the lead.
So 3 laps to go. That's 6 miles. Now, these trucks get less to that on a gallon of fuel. They get roughly 4 to 5 miles per gallon. So do the math. Next time around, they're going to have a gallon of fuel left if they're that close on the bubble. That is not a lot to go 2 laps around here.
Hallman is actually really far in behind. He's 11 seconds back from the leader, 7 seconds back from Robertson and Anasogak, so he's well off the pace.
But critically, where is he to Shane Wolf? He's behind him, so that's notable too as we get to 2 laps to go this time by. 4 miles remain in Michigan. Who's got the tank to outlast the best of the rest? Running on fumes at this point, they have to be.
I was going to say, I think I'm using Jordan Martin to say just a little bit of gas or something. Oh boy, hold your hearts because we're going to start seeing, I have a feeling we're going to start seeing guys start dropping like flies.
And again, did Hartz make a mistake and save too much fuel? I mean, he's good going into the playoffs tonight. He had an advantage, so don't give it up. But also, he was leading this thing and really bailed. So we'll see how long it works for him. Ryan Swan through 3 and 4. He's going to pick up the white flag. Can he make it 2 more miles? 1 lap to go here for Michigan. It's the white flag presented by Elwood Designs.
Want to get electing to just get on the hammer early on.
Is that a stumble?
Trying to chase him down.
Is that a stumble? Through 1 and 2. Up onto the back straightaway.
If anything, Bell's getting really close. I don't know if he's quite close enough for a hill.
Bell's out. Bell's out. Ryan Swan into turn 3. Does he have the fuel to make it? He's stumbling.
Oh no!
Here comes Cameron Hearn. Does he have enough fuel? He's stumbling.
Oh no, who's got to take it? Weinland's coming through.
Here they come, turn 4. Cameron Hearn noses ahead. Can he coast to the checkered? He's out of fuel. He's still got it running, and Cameron Hearn from out of nowhere, he'll pick up the win at Michigan as they come across the line. Weinland third. Second. Who finished second? There is Weinland, Swan, Shane Wolf, and Hasogak Robertson, your top 6. As Bell is going to run out of fuel to the end. Hallman, 7th place, behind Shane Wolf. Bell is going to drop outside the top 10 here. Or maybe grab 9th.
He's barely going to get across the line. Here comes Irvin. He's still lapped down and finally comes across in 9th.
Wow. That was the kind of fuel mileage race that I like watching, and Hearn is not going to have enough fuel for... Yeah, he's just idling the truck down the back straightaway.
I don't even know he's got enough to make it back around. Maybe barely.
I don't think anybody... Look at this. This is like the Walking Dead down the back straightaway. Nobody's got fuel left.
Oh, actually, Hearn was actually able to get back on the gas, so he still got some.
Wanted to save some for the burnout. Now he's just showing off. But 3 drivers ran out of fuel, and Hearn came through the middle.
Yeah, he started the final lap in 3rd, so did a really solid job.
Not a playoff competitor. We'll sort out the points for you shortly. But I think, well, Anasogak had a pretty good run, but not compared to Shane Wolf. Now, where Fambro finish is going to be interesting to follow as well. We'll tidy it all up for you here in a minute. Hearn's doing a burnout in the CNC logging truck. He gets it done here at Michigan. And he is not a playoff competitor. He dropped out of the playoffs a couple of rounds ago. 24th at the Roval, 21st at Martinsville. His last win came at Darlington on May 10th. It is his 4th win of the season. The other 2 that I haven't mentioned, Dover and at Phoenix.
Huh, great to see him get it done, though, and really have not talked a whole lot about him. I think we mentioned that he was up back from, actually, I mean, you can mention it now, too. Started 19th. Last row of the grid, drove himself all the way up here to the end.
Well, here is a look at your race results. That was a wild one and a fun one. Let's roll through it now. We'll get you your point
only
standings.
3 playoff contenders in the top 10.
Yeah, and Anasogak was the 2nd playoff competitor online, so that might play dividends. He was pretty far back, though, and Shane Wolf was one of the ones on the bubble, so the fact that he was the first of the playoff competitors to get to the stripe might have saved him tonight. So here's a look. Top 5, you mentioned the 3 playoff competitors. Ed Robertson, what a great race from him. Robertson started the race back in 20th, finished in 6th tonight. Great run for him. Tyler Hallman didn't quite get the night that he needed after leading a whole bunch of that late stage race. He and Ryan Hartz didn't do the calculations quite right. 7th for the 42 and 11th for Ryan Hartz on page 2.
Yeah, they really miscalculated. I'm kind of surprised that they did, considering how many guys pretty much got it right, or at least got close to getting it right. Those two, though, not really close, and especially for Holman, because it was important for him to try to finish ahead. He just didn't quite get the calculations right, as you mentioned. Famro finishing back in 14th. Again, that's going to be the big question mark to see if he had enough. It's going to be close by just a handful of points. See if he made it in. We think he's a little bit more on the good side. Brad Slaughter didn't matter where he finished. He's on through, but poor race for him in 15th. Paul Irvin, I'm sure he's going to be coming out disappointed, because the incident he was involved in wasn't his fault. It was a checkup on the restart. Nothing really he can do in line.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to kind of sort out here once we get the points situation sorted here in just a moment. We're going to talk to our top 3, though. And 3rd place was Ryan Swan in the number 1 truck. Well, he started the last lap leading the way, Ryan. It didn't quite work out the way that you wanted. Still managed to coast home to a 3rd place. That was awful close to a victory for you. Take us through that final lap and the fuel saving leading up to it.
Yeah, we sat there and rode behind Hallman and Weinland for probably up until about 12-10 to go or whatnot. Me and my teammate Jake, we decided to just go for it. I figured I was good. You know, I was kind of telling the 3 truck, who's also my teammate, that whenever you get out front, you use more fuel, and it just didn't work out. I had about half a lap. I was short. I got out front. Thought I checked out enough. I may have been able to do something, but Hearn came around me real quick. And we ended up 3rd. I'm pretty happy with it.
That seemed like a pretty good night, all things considered. Heading into that final pit stop, though, that caution flag came out just at the tail end of your first green flag run, and then there was a long run that you knew you were going to have to do. Thoughts on how the math changed over that final run? Did you think it when you came down to pit lane? Did you know you were going to have to save a bunch? It seemed like a lot of drivers kind of saved a bunch in the last 2 or 3 laps, kind of in panic mode.
Well, I know we were at our window to make it to the end. I did not know we were going to be a little bit short. Obviously, on the first run, the caution helped. So I thought we were going to make it to the mark we made it to on the first run. We did not. I came in and topped off, so I thought that was going to put me over the edge over everybody else. It seems like the 2 others that'll be getting interviewed right here in a minute, so we're on the same strategy as me. So it was the Titanic on the last lap for sure. Me and my teammate ran out of gas down the back straightaway. So it was a fun night, though.
Fun night. 3rd place for the number 1 of Ryan Swan. Ryan, congratulations. We'll see you next week at Las Vegas. Best of luck to you there.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on now to our 2nd place finisher, Eric Weinland, in the number 21 truck. And for a brief moment, I think you might have thought you had that win coming to you. Trucks sputtering and spattering on the back straightaway, diving out of the way. But 2nd place, 2.6 seconds short, Eric. What'd you need to do to win this race? A little bit more luck, a little bit more track position, a little more fuel. What'd you need?
Well, obviously a little more fuel, Kylo, but honestly, I needed to be a little smarter myself on the fuel save. Cameron played it great. He saved a little bit more as I started to try to make my move forward to get a better position in line, and that ultimately, I think, played the difference there with like 25, 30 to go, because he had just that little bit more to push a little earlier than I did. But no, I felt confident the entire way, Kyle. We stuck to the plan. I knew the fuel number. I knew what I needed to do, and we executed it perfectly. Didn't quite bet on the Jacob Bell Racing guys making that strategy work. They saved quite a bit on the front end of the run, but all in all, a great night.
It certainly was a good night for you, Eric. Thinking back, I was asking Ryan Swan the same thing when that caution flag came out. Were the calculators ticking away there? Because it seemed like some drivers got about halfway through that run and go, uh-oh, we can't make it, and then dropped way out. I'm thinking of drivers like Ryan Hartz and Tyler Hallman. So, on the front end of that run, did you think it was going to be as close as it was and as many people were going to try to make it, or did you think more would commit to a different strategy?
Well, I'll tell you, the calculator started burning, Kyle, about maybe a quarter to a third of the way through that first really long stint, right after that early yellow. That's when I really started paying attention and saying, hey, we got a fuel number we need to hit. to the rest of the guys in the Elite Entertainment team. And most of us executed that number near perfectly. It really sucked that caution came out because I felt like only us were going to be good. Only us as a team were going to be good on fuel to the end of the race. But the yellow flew and obviously changed things. But the strategy stayed the same. It was right about the time we were going to pit anyway, when the road finally opened to the lead lap trucks. And so it made it probably a little bit easier having those couple laps pacing to save just a little bit more fuel. I spent most of those with the truck shut off. But yeah, the Elite Entertainment truck with Swift Lifestyles and Bullet Design Company on the truck. And of course, you can check out the race streams at Lucky We Are on Twitch. It was a fuel-saving machine tonight, Kyle, and it paid dividends.
Well, it worked out for you, Eric. Congratulations to second place, the top 5. A strong night. We'll see you next week in Las Vegas. Best of luck to you there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks to the guys here at SimTV for you guys putting the broadcast on. Of course, everybody at Area and CNC Logging to help put this on. This is a great night.
All right. Thanks a lot, Eric. We'll see you next week. Moving on now to race winner Cameron Hearn. The top 2 in the points have won 4 times this season, and now Cameron Hearn, not a playoff competitor, now is tied for most wins on the season at 4. Cameron, what a wild last couple of laps. A lot of fuel saving happening. Drivers dropping out of the top 5 out of the top 10, trying to save fuel to the end. But here you come on that last lap, burning up a whole bunch of fuel. I thought you were sputtering, but you had enough to go do a burnout. So take us through that whole last run and making your way through 3 and 4 to pick up the race win here tonight. You led 6 laps, and one of them was that final one.
Yeah, it definitely was it teaches you a little patience because it's tough as a driver, restarting 3rd, 4th, and just let these guys go and clutch. I clutched it from the start on every corner, and then 3/4 on the straightaway. So I was letting people go, and you saw people get massive leads. Ryan Hartz, I think, had a second and a half, 2 second. He came back. Hallman had a huge lead, came back. And I was just trying to be patient. And then as soon as I got to my number, I'm like, I should be able to run it wide open, get to the finish line and win for it. Jacob Bell and Ryan Swan, I didn't know if they had enough fuel. They were like 3.5 seconds in front of me. So I was like, well, hopefully they're safe and I can make up some time. But luckily I saw Jacob sputter coming out of turn 2. So I figured Swan wouldn't be too far behind, but he made it in turn 3 and sputtered. And I had about a half a lap left when I crossed the line. So I kind of timed it good, but definitely had a fast truck all night, but, I love seeing some strategy like that come in at the end. I thought it was fun. I mean, you had the whole field stacked up, guys going for it, falling back, losing the draft. It was real fun.
It was a lot of fun to watch, Cameron, and congratulations. I know there's got to be a little bit of disappointment not being in the championship hunt for this one and being so successful tonight, but you can at least head into Las Vegas with nothing on your shoulders and you can go out there and rip out another win.
Yeah, that's right. I think at the Roval, I had a thunderstorm come through and we lost power for a couple hours. So definitely just a bad circumstance, but that's part of it. And looking forward to next week, and like you said, ending the season on a high note, getting the win. I appreciate you guys on broadcast. Appreciate all the admins, Elite Entertainment. Appreciate them sponsoring us. Shout out to my dad who watches all my races. It's been a while since I got a W. Finally got one back, and look forward to the next week. Appreciate you guys.
All right, thanks so much, Cameron. We'll see you at Las Vegas.
All right, thank you.
All right, Finian, points are updated, and it is as we expected, meaning that the top 4 drivers that came into the night will be the ones that are in the top 4 leaving the night, and your final 4 competitors in the Area CNC Logan Truck Series playoffs. Brad Slaughter, the number 81, the 3 of Ryan Hartz, the 54 of Colin Fambro, and James Shainwolf in the number 31. Now, this was closer than I think Colin Fambro wanted it, only 4 points above Tyler Hallman. So those spots that Hallman dropped, saving fuel at the end, those were the critical ones that dropped him out of the chance for a championship.
Yeah, I mean, it really was down to the wire, right? If Fambro didn't have more guys to pass on the track, because he was in 17th at one point, and like you mentioned, Hallman, if he saved a little bit more fuel, he could have been in. So it's a bit unfortunate. It was really close, but that's just how it is sometimes. You're just a little bit too close and not enough there.
Yeah, well, thanks to Elwood Designs for getting this graphic in time to make the broadcast here at the tail end. Yeah, they were fast. And again, big thanks to all the drivers for putting on a heck of a show tonight. We got one more race this season. It'll be next Tuesday night. Las Vegas Motor Speedway is our season finale, Finian. A lot of drivers going in there with nothing to do but win. But these 4, the 81, the 3, the 31, and the 54, their goal is only to finish ahead of the other. So there's a big challenge for them next week. Positions don't matter. You just got to be ahead of everybody else that you're racing, those other 3.
Absolutely looking forward to seeing who is going to be the one that does finish in front of the others, because it's been fantastic watching these guys race through the playoffs. It's been cutthroat. Can't imagine what it's going to be when the cup's on the line.
All right, that's going to be it for us tonight here at SimTV. Big thanks to watching the CNC Login Truck Series playoffs. Thursday night, the Area Lodge Box Series takes on Michigan. It's been a fun one here this week at this racetrack. Don't miss it. It'll be 8:40 p.m. Eastern, the kickoff for qualifying. We'll see you there. Thursday night, the Area Lodge Box Series up next. We'll be back with you next Tuesday for the season finale for the CNC Login Truck Series. And on Monday, don't forget, the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series takes on Vegas for their finale as well. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time here on SimTV.